get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I hope you guys are all having a phenomenal start to your guys' week on a Monday. If you guys are tuning in on Tuesday, hopefully you guys are off to a great Tuesday as well. But with that being said, there's not going to be a guest on today's show or tomorrow. There should be guests back on Wednesday's show. However, we've got a lot to get on today's show. And we do have audio. Good. So with that being said, we got a lot to get into on today's show. Most of which is going to be in regards to the fight recap that went down this past weekend in the UK at the O2 Arena. And then we're going to be hopping into some boxing news as well. But as always, if you guys have any comments, questions, or topics that you guys want me to address on tonight's show, leave it in the chat and I'll make sure to address that as I go throughout tonight's show. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. So for the first time in a couple of weeks, we had a mega fight go down in the UK at the O2 Arena. And this is what I'm pretty much only going to discuss this because the undercard was atrocious. Some good fights, but we'll run through that real quickly. Danny Quartermain, he had an incredible fight against Rothstein Barney Smith. Unanimous decision, absolute masterclass right there, as expected. Was not a competitive fight. There was a lot of rumors that Danny was going to be pushed for some reason this fight. Yeah, no, not without a doubt. He dominated that fight, not even competitive. Ezra Taylor did his job, 9th round TKO. I thought he was going to get it done a little bit quicker than that, but great job with Ezra Taylor in that fight. Then IBO Cruiserweight title fight. This was also a solid performance. This was not a competitive fight either, and this is exactly what I expected to have happen. Jurgensen is now the champion, and he will move forward in the Cruiserweight division. So, really, it was a pathetic undercard in my opinion. Was not very good. You watched a little bit of highlights, whatever it might have been. You guys didn't miss much. That is what it is. The main event, though, was a little bit different. We witnessed an instant heavyweight classic on Saturday. Instant. What we witnessed on Saturday between Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker is what makes the heavyweight division so special. We witnessed two guys that are two of the top 10 heavyweights in all the world. Probably could call them two of the top 5. And what we witnessed was two guys that went to absolute war. And mind you, this fight never had to happen. Joseph Parker never had to take this fight. He earned his world title shot dating all the way back to early this year when he should have fought Daniel Dubois. He never had to take this fight. But he did. And that's what made what we witnessed on Saturday special. Why I think every single one of us that love boxing need to appreciate both those two men for stepping foot in that ring and giving us the fight that they gave us. Because they didn't have to make that fight. In today's era of boxing, we oftentimes see a lot of people avoid these big fights. Oh, he's dangerous. He could possibly hurt my shot going for world championship, so on and so forth. And with this modern day mentality, we have lost so many great fights. But what Joseph Parker gave us, which he did not have to do, is what makes boxing special. Sometimes you can just throw out the belts. Yes, the belts matter. Yes, of course they are. At the end of the day, they matter for resumes. They matter for legacy. But what we really want to witness is great fights. And this is what helps the sport overall in its health. And so shout out to Joseph Parker for taking this fight. We witnessed an instant heavyweight classic. I'm going to break it down for you guys right now. This was a good fight. Phenomenal. Fabio Wardley had his moments. Joseph Parker was in control, though. If he were not to have gotten knocked out, the odds are quite high that Joseph Parker would even more so solidify that shot of being a world champion shot against Alexander Usyk. But here's what made it special, and we all knew this heading in. Fabio Wardley has special power. He is nowhere near the accuracy that Joseph Parker possesses, nor does he have the technical skill or the sound fundamentals, none of that. Joseph Parker will always edge around all the different aspects. But what makes Fabio Wardley special is that this man is a warrior. He has an insane chin, one of the best chins in all boxing. But on top of that, this is a man who has overcome every doubter in the history of his career. Every single time that people thought he's reached his peak, he surpasses that again and again. And now Fabio Wardley has himself in a position where he's going to fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world against Alexander Usyk. Hats off to this man. And we witnessed that. Now, I want to go to the 11th round. This is when the TKO occurred. The fight was called off by the referee. Fabio Wardley wins. Joseph Parker obviously loses in this situation. And it was controversial. I want to make this very, very clear. I don't have a firm stance on it because I honestly see both sides very, very clearly in this one. On one side, was Joseph Parker able to potentially continue to fight? I do believe so. Would he have been able to turn it out and get out of that round? I don't know about that. He was not looking good. He was getting hit by some pretty hard hits. I don't know if he would have been able to make it out of that round. Maybe, maybe not. At the same time, though, this was a situation where you probably could have seen a man try going out for another couple minutes, see what he could do. Do I think it was a little bit premature of a stoppage by the referee? Yes. But at the same time, as I said, do I think Joseph Parker could have made a difference had the fight continued? I don't know. I think Fabio Wardley had him exactly where we want him to be, and he put him in a tough predicament where Joseph Parker was not going to be able to make it out of that round. So obviously look at that. Should the ref maybe let it go on another 10, 15, 20 seconds, maybe even a minute longer, whatever it could have been? Maybe. You can make that case. But I do think Fabio Wardley would have ended that fight in round 11 without a doubt. And that's what makes this very interesting. Now, I will throw this proposition to you guys. We don't know when Usyk will for sure return. There's rumors of early 2026. Odds are, though, it couldn't be pushed into the summertime of 2026. We don't have that answer. If Usyk does not fight until summertime 2026, I would not be opposed to possibly seeing them run this fight back. Just going to throw that out there. Do I think it's likely going to happen? No. Do I think any of that will happen? Absolutely not. But I would personally love to see this fight happen again. I think Joseph Parker gave Fabio Wardley an opportunity. Joseph Parker sacrificed his ability to go fight Alexander Usyk when he had every right to go wait out for that fight, and yet he took it fight. He didn't have to do that. Would I think it would be awesome to see Fabio Wardley extend that offer and say, hey, you know what? You give me this chance. Let me go back it up one more time. Let's run this thing back in March or something along those lines. I would love to see that. I doubt it happens, but I personally would love to see that, and I think that fight would be phenomenal because the first one was spectacular as well. So at the end of the day, though, my expectation is this. Wardley will move on. He will fight Alexander Usyk for the undisputed world championships. All the belts at the heavyweight division will go down in 2026. For Joseph Parker, he's in a tough spot now. Because when you look at the other top fighters right now, sure, does he immediately get somebody else if he wants one? Absolutely. But he is getting up there in age. This is a tough loss. He did take some damage in this fight. When can he return? There's a lot of questions there. So it is unfortunate for Joseph Parker, but I just want to say hats off to both these guys because this fight never had to get made. And it is time that we all give our respects to Joseph Parker for making this fight happen because he gave us an instant heavyweight classic without even needing to do so. Let's head into some boxing news now. And I'm going to wrap up today's show with the big news that came out about a possible rematch to end the show. So I'm going to go through some of the boxing news first, and we'll hop into that one thing. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned for that one. But yes, it is going to be the big news of a possible rematch happening on Netflix in 2026. Let's get to this, though. Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora 3 on December 13th is very likely. A third fight between Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora is official for December 13th at the Co-op Live in Manchester. The trilogy would headline a Queensberry DAZN pay-per-view card. Whyte is 2-0 up in the rivalry after beating Chisora by split decision in 2016 and by KO in 2018. However, Derek Chisora has said that a trilogy fight between him and Dillian Whyte is not yet signed. Here's the quote. If the contract is right, Chisora will fight Whyte for a third time if they can get these things sorted out. Here's my honest opinion. The Dillian Whyte we just witnessed against Mosey Toma was bad. And I'm personally of the belief that Dillian Whyte has always been a little bit overrated. He obviously got busted for PEDs. Everything we've seen of him post-PED bust has not been very pretty. A big difference between Dillian Whyte post and pre-PEDs. My own personal opinion. And then he's only add on age to his timeline, and he's no longer looking like the great guy. He got absolutely ransacked by Mosey Toma right at the gate. And when we look at Derek Chisora, obviously, is he Mosey Toma? No. But Derek Chisora is still fine. Yeah, we saw him do a beatdown of Otto Vollen earlier this year. We've seen him have some great performances as of late. This is a man that I think is still more than capable of fighting at a solid level. So if we were to run this fight back for the third time, I think Derek Chisora will win it, move the record to 2-1. I just don't know if this is the right fight to end his career. I think it would be a cool send-off for both guys, but I feel like if Derek Chisora does do this fight, I would not be shocked to see him go back one more time. Adam Azim, Kurt Scobie, likely on November 15th. Adam Azim is now set to face Kurt Scobie on the November 15th Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn card. Azim was originally announced to fight Zaur Abdullaev on the show, but according to Abdullah's promoter, Jermaine Titov, the fight was never agreed to. Interesting news right here, and let me be honest. I like this fight even more. I really like this fight. I think it adds a lot more spice and flavor to this card. When you talk about Zaur Abdullaev, not too many people know his name. Kurt Scobie are now adding in an American who is very entertaining. If you have not watched him fight on the OTX cards, go watch him. He is a fun fighter, very talented. I think he's actually going to be a little bit of a problem for Adam Azim. I think Azim will win the fight, but I do think Kurt Scobie is going to be someone that you have to keep an eye on. He's going to be a tricky fighter for Adam Azim to figure out. He's a veteran, experienced, very solid fighter with a unique, unorthodox style. I think this could be a very interesting fight right here that makes this card a little bit more entertaining. Floyd Schofield Jr. versus Jojo Diaz Jr. is now off the Virgil Ortiz versus Erickson Lubin undercard after Schofield sustained a grade 2 sprain to his right wrist along with minor ligament damage. I really don't think anybody cares about the fight being off, to be honest. The injury, hopefully he gets healthy, he gets all recovered, so on and so forth. But let's just be honest. Was anybody in the world even somewhat looking forward to Floyd Schofield or Jojo Diaz? I personally thought when this fight got announced, it was one of the weirdest announcements I've seen. Floyd Schofield Jr. is coming off the win of his career, an absolute beatdown against Tevin Farmer, where we were discussing world championship shots, title eliminators, those type of things. Jojo Diaz, while giving us a fight of the year contender, just lost to Regis Prograis. In what world would we want to see Jojo Diaz, who's now lost, 7 straight fights now, I believe, go out there and fight Floyd Schofield? The timelines just don't make any sense. This was clearly a tune-up fight that nobody asked for, nobody wanted, and nobody quite frankly cared about. So if I'm going to be honest, Jojo Diaz would have been annihilated by Floyd Schofield Jr. And for Floyd Schofield Jr., just go get a better fight made. Let's just scratch it off. Don't reschedule this fight. Move off of it. We never wanted to see it. We never wanted it. Move off of it. Get healthy. Come back in 2026. Let's get some big fights going on. Giorgio Visioli will face Joe Howarth in the final eliminator for the English lightweight title, and John Hedges will defend his English cruiserweight title against Ellis Zoro on December 17th at Indigo at the O2 in London. Two solid young fighters, both going to go for English titles right there. Solid to see that one go down. Then KABAYEL versus Yoka on January 10th could possibly be in the works. Tony Yoka has posted him signing the contract to face German Ajit KABAYEL on January 10th. Interesting. We're going back and forth. I also heard rumors of Daniel Dubois possibly stepping up to that fight right there. Lots of things are up in the air. Who knows what's going to happen? But KABAYEL now is in an interesting predicament right now. If he were to fight someone like Daniel Dubois, I think there is legitimate chance that he could jump Fabio Wardley for the world title shot against Usyk. Could. Not guaranteed, but it's certainly possible. So if he fights like Tony Yoka, that's not a solid performance. That's not a good fight. It makes sense to go have home defense, to get an easy win, stay active, whatever. But we'll see what he does. I don't know if this fight will be finalized yet. Tony Yoka is still in the running and the rumors. But yes, that is apparently the picture he posted was him signing a contract to fight KABAYEL. We'll see if it gets confirmed. Other options are being still explored, though. SUBRIEL MATIAS versus Dalton Smith is official for January 10th at the Barclays Center. We know this fight. I think it's going to be a solid fight. Going down to Barclays, great destination place for both guys. Excited for that one. And last but most certainly not least, the topic I want to wrap tonight's show discussing is going to be this right here. Floyd Money Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are in talks for a potential rematch in 2026. The fight is being explored as another Netflix boxing event. I'm sorry. Boxing might just be the most unserious sport in all the world. In what world is there a possibility that we have two guys in their late 40s going after a rematch that they fought each other a decade plus ago? Great fight, but a decade plus ago, both of which have not been in the ring very often. For Floyd Mayweather, he has not been a pro fighter for many years. For Manny Pacquiao, is already in the Hall of Fame. While I did prove a lot of people wrong, again, the Mario Barrios fight, we have not seen these guys be very active. Now that man has won a fight in many, many years. And yet, there's a chance that we throw this fight back the year of 2026 on Netflix. Let's be honest. How is boxing more unserious, more unorganized than any other sport in the world to this extent? There's no other sport you would ever get something along these lines happening. But if it does happen, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it. Will I watch the fight? Absolutely. And that's the weird thing about boxing. Is it a fight that I'm looking forward to as I was once upon a time with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in the primes? Absolutely not. But you can't lie. Would you watch this fight? Two of the biggest names in not just boxing, but sports history fighting each other. You would absolutely watch that fight. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether it is a good fight or not, Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao is a fight that you will be watching. On Netflix, available to the whole world, it will be one of the most watched fights that we have seen in a long time. This Netflix era has given us some of the most viewed fights. This will certainly be right up there with the top of them. And I do believe that most people looking at this fight will be a little bit turned off by it. They're not going to want this fight to get made, and rightfully so. But the truth is this. When you have the opportunity to have Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in the ring together, you have a chance to sell a lot of tickets, have a lot of views, and break a lot of records. The most interesting thing about this, though, is that Floyd Mayweather would be putting his 50-0 record on the line. That's interesting. Because if Floyd Mayweather were to lose this fight, and he drops 50-1, while that one loss did come post-retirement, so on and so forth, you do have to realize that his impact with the 50-0 mark, 0 losses, has done so much damage for the sport of boxing. The mentality, the viewership of how people view athletes, it's done a lot of damage for people. You cannot deny that fact about Floyd Mayweather. Him possibly putting that O on the line would be huge for boxing to see Floyd possibly get that loss. Now, I'm not going to give a prediction right now, but I do find this fight very interesting. Not one that I would have imagined would ever happen, but then again, it's boxing. You never know what's going to happen in this sport. It is one of the most unserious, unorganized sports in all the world. And with that being said, that's all I have set for tonight's show. If there's any more chats in the comment section, make sure to leave it there, and I'll always address them. Your comment will pop up on the screen, but I don't see any more for tonight. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of the weekend, or best rest of your Monday. I'll see you guys back live on Tuesday. May God bless you guys all. See you guys back live tomorrow. God bless you guys. With that being said, SchuZ out. See you guys tomorrow.